seventh graders. Welcome to day 2 of this writing piece where you are writing that personal narrative about that cherished memory with an important creature or person in your world. So today I'm going to ask you to go ahead and let's get this document back open from yesterday. So inside Google Classroom, open back up your personal narrative. So we're opening this, and yesterday your job was to be filling in this chart. So go ahead and get that open and meet me back when you're ready. All right, so you found your piece right here where it says personal narrative tribute essay, and you are looking at this. Yesterday, I told you to go through and list down everything you could remember from the before, the during, and the after of your moment. What I want you to do right now is I want you just to take about 5 minutes and I want you to go through and try and add in any type of color, any type of sound, any type of inner thought, and just kind of go through and add in just a little bit here and there. Like I added in the blue Dodge Omni. Notice that I have a proper noun. So maybe see if you can find a place to put in a proper noun and just go through and add in just a little bit onto this into your before, during, after, and conclusion. All right, and come on back after about 5 minutes. Okay, now that you've had some time to work on that, let's get going today with some writing. The first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to go through and just kind of share with you some different leads, some ideas for leads. So if you would please, you have a link right here where it says strong leads. If you click on that, it is going to bring you to this document right here. All right, so go ahead and open that interest grabbing leads. Okay, this document is full of great ideas on how you could start your writing piece because today I'm going to have you get started. But first, I want you to try out a couple leads. Find one that you think will really hook in your reader. All right, so you could start it with some action. Take a look at this. Wham! A cloud of dust erupted as a pitch screamed into the catcher's mitt, and another batter was struck out. You could try some dialogue. It's awful to fail, but worse to have never tried, preached my mother as we drove. You could do a description. The monstrous ski jump loomed ahead of me with its height and glory, and I looked over at my grandpa perched next to me on the chairlift end. So you have this description. This inner thought one is kind of fun. The greatest things about my best friends are that they know most everything about you. The worst thing about best friends is that they know most everything about you. I knew in an instant she could tell I was lying. You could use what we've had from our knucklehead um, mentor text. You could just have, again, this is tension. You could have where it's like, it should have been a boring, lazy summer day, but little did I know how it would actually turn out. So these are all ideas on how you could start your essay. So here's how I started mine. I started it with a little dialogue. I hate it. You don't understand. It's the worst. I won't be able to eat all day. My grandma responded, "It won't be that bad. You'll see. You're lucky you can have braces." So I used a little dialogue. I want you to practice right now and try and come up with a lead. How would you start your story? And then share out a couple inside your crew. You can share with a crewmate, you could share out a whole group. So take a few minutes and come up with how you're going to start your story. Okay, now it's time. We are going to start writing here in just a second. I'm going to ask you to three-quarter your screens and just pay attention as I go through an example. Each day, Mrs. Prentice and I are going to show you an example. Please remember that this is your final writing. This is like a final writing exam. You want to do really well on this. This is where you are going to need to show versus tell. You're going to need to add in that sentence fluency. You're going to need to add in fireball word choice and figurative language. So make sure that you're really shining and you're doing moment by moment. All right, so three-quarter your screen, and I am going to go over my example and just simply follow along as I read this one to you. What I did is I just took everything from up here. It helped me come up with ideas to write about down here. I hate it. You don't understand. It's the worst. I won't be able to eat all day, I whined dramatically. It won't be that bad, you'll see. You're lucky you can have braces, replied the sweet little lady, standing less than 5 feet tall, always listening, always there, always understanding, and knowing just what to say at the right moment. Someday, I hope I can be just like my grandma. But right at this moment, I just don't want to go to the stupid dentist. Time to go, she spoke softly. I hated going to the dentist. Every month I had to go and get my braces adjusted. While some kids enjoyed getting out of school to go to the dentist, I dreaded it. It made me nervous. I didn't want to have any more pain. I didn't want to wait forever just to be tortured with metal wires and rubber bands sitting in a torture chair. Slowly, I climbed into the front seat of the dusty blue Dodge Omni and fastened my seatbelt. Smiling gently at me, my grandma's expression helped to ease my sour mood as I shut the door and headed toward my fear and pain. Traveling down Laketon Avenue, the early morning sunshine did little to improve my mood. I knew we were getting closer to our destination because I recognized some of the buildings. Which road do we turn on again? My grandma asked. I don't know, I quickly replied, wondering why she would ask me. Seriously, how am I supposed to know where to turn? I can't drive yet. I can't remember. I think it's this road. She spoke to me, but it seemed more like she was thinking aloud. As we turned down the crumbling gray paved road, I knew immediately that she had made a wrong turn because the dentist office was always right there after we turned off Laketon. At this moment, no dentist office was in sight, just a string of houses in an older, rundown neighborhood. Suddenly, my spirits lifted and a slight smile spread across my face, as I now had hope that we just might not make it there at all. The thought of missing my dentist appointment, missing the torture, missing the boredom of waiting brought me out of my doom and gloom attitude and shot me straight to Happy Town. This doesn't seem right. I think I made a wrong turn. What do you think, Beth? Grandma smiled as she spoke. Excitement bubbled inside of me as I knew we were not near the dentist's office. I think we're lost, Grandma. With a mischievous grin on her sweet grandmotherly face, she turned toward me and asked for my help. Well, let's see if we can find the office together. Which way should I turn? While I pointed out places we should turn, Grandma maneuvered that little car all over the neighborhood. With each wrong turn, we laughed a little bit more until finally we were hysterically laughing as it seemed like we were going around in circles. All of my worries, all of my fears, all of my negativity was left behind as we circled the neighborhood in search of the dentist office. Finally, she made one last turn. The dentist office, my worst nightmare, sat right before us. Laughing uncontrollably, she attempted to park the car in front of the office and only succeeded in coming to a full stop after she hit the curb. Feeling lighter than air, I walked into the office. Amazingly, I wasn't worried anymore. I was actually in a great mood. Smiling from ear to ear, I checked in at the window. 5 minutes late. I was shocked. It seemed like hours we were spent zipping through that maze of houses to find our way here. I passed the old fish tank graveyard with a smirk as I headed back to get my wire and rubber bands changed. Within minutes of sitting in the tan plastic dental chair, my time in the office was done. Grandma stood and greeted me warmly with her beautiful smile as I wandered out of the waiting room. Placing an arm around my shoulders, she whispered, "Time for cookies." And we left the dentist office giggling. And as soon as I got in the car, she raised her eyebrows, smiled, and said, "Don't worry, I know how to get to the bakery." While she insisted that she did not get lost on purpose, it seemed to happen that we missed our turn each and every time thereafter that she took me to get my braces worked on. Those moments in the car lightened the load of worry, and they removed the pressure of fear that weighted so heavily on me before going into that office. Being with her was always like that. It was always positive, always fun. She didn't let me worry for long. In that moment and many more, she taught me to find the fun in any situation. I walked away from that appointment knowing if I approached things with a good attitude, then good things would happen, like going to Reiki's Bakery for butter cookies. All right, so there's my example for you. Your job today is going to be to open up, and I want you to work on getting your intro, that lead done, and your before. Please make sure that you are adding in as much detail as you can. This is your final writing, so shine through. Really make sure and show us everything that happened before the your moment, who you were with, what was said, the colors, the weather, what you heard, what you were thinking. So, adding in as many details as you can. Today, you should leave class having at least the first couple paragraphs done. All right, I'll see you back tomorrow as we begin to work on the during.